eyes on the Reserve Bank today, with the board expected to keep interest rates on hold.
If you're trying to enter the property market and you don't know where to start, buying a unit could be the key. Here to explain is Today Money expert Effie Zahos. Effie, good morning.
Good morning.
Units are still quite expensive, right?
Yeah.
But are they a more affordable option than a house?
There's actually a massive 45% gap between the median capital city value of a house versus a unit. Now, that's latest data from CoreLogic. Usually houses, they've got a premium price because they're, underpinned by land. But before the pandemic, that gap was actually only around about 16%. After the pandemic, it increased because people wanted space, they wanted houses. Rates went up and then there was a bit of a pullback. But the last 12 months, houses have been flying again price-wise. Houses have increased about, 100,000 over the past 12 months, units about 42,000.
Give us some of the suburbs.
Okay, so when you're looking at buying a place, sometimes you want to go into suburb and you just can't afford a house. What I wanted to see is basically what is the biggest premium discounts between houses and units in capital cities. A lot of them were premium suburbs like, Bellevue Hill, Harbourside. Yeah, look
Wrong
at that.
side of the tracks, Ascot.
But look at the discount between a house versus a unit. So if you wanted, let's say, to live in Bellevue Hill, eastern suburb in Sydney, you've got a 526% difference between a house and a unit. You're buying the postcode, essentially. Others can be a little bit more affordable. Sandy Bay in Hobart, that's only 5 kilometres south of Hobart. And again, you could jump into that suburb with 698 versus 1.2. So there are big gaps there, and this is one way where first home buyers or even, trying to jump into the property market and get in through a unit.
$1,700 for a house in Walkerville in Adelaide, that's cheap.
Well, these are the biggest premium gaps that I was looking at. What has, the biggest difference between a house and a unit?
All right, so what are rates likely to do here?
Well, look, when you are looking at buying a place right now, you need to pass a stress test. So what I had to look at is that how much of an income, how much do you need to be earning to be buying a unit around Australia before you can afford it? So this is a single person. It assumes that you've got about $21,000 in expenses. Unfortunately, what I found, Perth and Darwin was the only place where a single person could buy a place on their own, because I looked at average incomes as well. Typically these days, you need to get 2 incomes coming in. But this shows the median price of a unit in the state and the amount of income you would need before tax to pass a stress test.
All right. Good stuff, Effie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Effie.
Peter Dutton is expected to accept the overhaul of the Stage 3 tax cuts as Treasury officials reveal 70% of workers will pay less tax over a full decade.
Let's bring in Investment Portfolio Manager Junbei Liu for more. Junbei, good morning. What does the forecast show?
Look, the forecast does show there will be quite a lot of support back into the lower to mid bracket income families, and it does suggest that it will give them just a bit of a support and relief.
OK, while the coalition is accepting the changes, they will ramp up calls for more generous tax cuts. What do you think that could include?
Look, the more general, it will be the high income brackets, really, because that was the original tax bracket. The next stage of tax is meant to be for the high income. But clearly, at this stage, it certainly seems that the economy will benefit a little bit more from the lower to mid income tax bracket. So.
We know the RBA's meeting in this groundbreaking new 2-day meeting that they're having. Do you think we're likely to see a cut? I know the OECD is warning against it.
It's interesting, isn't it? I don't think we will see a cut, but there were still economists calling for a rate rise, which I don't think it's going to happen. I think they will pause. They will see if the inflation continue to undershoot the expectations, and then see how we go. Particularly in the US, they've yet to start cutting.
Yeah, there's still sticky bits of inflation.
That's right. It's the wages, and that will take time to come through. So, RBA is really waiting for that to ease.
All right, Jimmy, thank you so much.
Hey there, Today fans. Sarah and...
What's my name again?
Oh my goodness, Carl.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel, though. Subscribe now for more news, special reports and amazing Aussie stories.
And Carl misbehaving,
Whoa,
of course.
that never happens.
Always happens.
What's she talking about?